Tonight on Lowdown, we're sitting down with an aspiring YouTube star. We'll take a look at some source code with a student here on campus and listen in on a podcast co-hosted by yours truly. All this and more coming up next. Welcome back to Lowdown, a show by the students of the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg. I'm Stephen Holstein. Thanks for joining us this evening as we continue to dive into all the cool things happening here at UCM. Speaking of, our very own Blake Proctor has found a new avenue to express his creativity online. Let's take a look.
My name is Blake Proctor and my major is digital media production. I have a YouTube channel and I post gameplay videos in my spare time because I enjoy playing video games. I feel like making, editing, and posting my YouTube videos is different in its own way because it allows me to go back and make changes and edit and not have the same issues that most people have when they're streaming, like saying things that you can't really take back during the stream, or it can be more creative. I feel like it can be more creative when you go back and edit it. Some of my favorite video games to play for my gameplay channel, I'd say Dragon Ball Fighters. I enjoy playing Minecraft as well. Rocket League is fun to play, it's interesting. Really, I'm kind of all over the place. Adventure games, fantasy games, RPG games. As long as it's interesting to me, I'm willing to play it and make a video about it. I would say my interest for making gameplay videos first started probably in high school. I was playing the games anyway, so I was like, why not just make something and post it? I don't really care about if it blows up or anything, but just being able to share that with people coming back to school, and maybe like one or two people like, yo, I watched it, that was pretty funny, or I watched it and it was garbage. Like, I can handle all of the feedback and I just like messing with the footage. Really, it's more of a appreciation for editing, but being able to play video games as well is a good bonus. I have tried streaming before. It was not my cup of tea. I'm not that interesting, I would say, to play video games because I get so into it. Honestly, I don't see how people, well, for me to be more open about what's going on in game, I would have to be playing with more people. But if I'm just playing by myself, I feel like just streaming, it would be boring. I can try to talk, but it feels forced. So. I really only have one favorite gameplay channel. Recently, I'm newly appreciative and I very much binged Corey Extension. I don't know if you've heard of him, but his content's really fun. It seems genuine, him playing his games, and he keeps it kid friendly so kids can watch it too. So something I can watch with my little cousin, which he's the one who honestly put me on because I didn't really watch gameplay channels prior. I don't really have too many goals for my gameplay channel, but it is doing pretty well. It's doing better than my personal YouTube channel. My gameplay channel has about like 200 subs, but most of the views come from like Minecraft stuff, which is stuff that I won't always be doing, but it's just fun to be able to post something and hear feedback from either friends or strangers. I mean, strangers is new, so I like getting that, but I don't know, no real goals for it, but if it grows, it grows.
Let's get it. Let's go.
I have the most fun when I'm actually just playing the games. But not only that, I said it like it was the only thing, but I also have a lot of fun when I'm editing them. So when I'm adding little jokes, or when I say a joke, I can make it more, because I have so much control over the video specifically, I can change it to be like, oh, look at this man's shoes, and I can crop in and show his shoes or something silly like that. It just makes it so, kind of like brings people to my world when I'm playing video games. If there's anybody out there who's thinking about making a gameplay channel or just starting up any channel in general, I would say go ahead and do it. You won't really know how you feel about it unless you start. So don't be afraid to take that leap. I don't get a lot of views. It doesn't hurt me. I don't feel like it'll hurt you. Just take whatever you can from it. And every time you post is a learning experience. So go out and try it.
My name is Scott Flowers, studying digital media production. The Melier Society is a film club led by Dr. Eric Newsom, where we watch and we kind of review different films like after the screening. Just discussions of what went right about the film, what really inspired us or captured our attention, that kind of thing.
I like getting everyone's different perspectives on the film. That's like the reason why I keep going back, because like not only do I get to see new films all the time, because these are all like typically films that I had never like even thought about seeing, and so just being able to like expand my horizon, my viewpoint, be able to see different directors and be like, I want to do that, is really fun.
My favorite thing about the club is just how relaxed Dr. Eric Newsom is with our discussions, and it's not too formal or informal, it's just right in the middle. It's just very welcoming. Like where anyone can join if they just really like films. For non-members, it's basically just a club for people who like discussing and analyzing various different kinds of films, and just for film lovers and just like film critics or that kind of thing. I've been attending almost every single screening, and I first joined the club because I had another class with Dr. Newsom. It just seemed like a very cool thing to be a part of. The environment is very relaxed. That's just how Dr. Newsom is with almost all his classes. He's a very laid-back kind of professor. And so like most professors who are more formal and they seem very unapproachable, but he's very approachable. That's just how he is in the film. And some of the discussions can be very funny or just kind of relaxed, that kind of thing. It's just a really good environment. What I like most is experiencing like, several different kinds of films that I would have imagined that I'd ever be interested in seeing. And just exploring like films that are from different cultures or backgrounds or different editors and directors and that kind of thing. And also discussing these films, because I've also been very interested in watching like internet reviewers and YouTube and stuff like that. The last meeting was over the Kiki's Delivery Service, which was a Japanese film by Miyazaki. It was a very brilliant film.
I'm gonna put my paws together and pray you're not serious.
Of course I am.
It's actually my suggestion to watch the Studio Ghibli film, because last year they watched one and I wasn't there for it, so I'm just like, we should do another one. And so originally they were gonna do Spirited Away, which is a good film and people should see it, but I've only seen it once and I didn't have very strong feelings about it. And so Newsom was just like, so what's another Ghibli film that everyone should see? Kiki's Delivery Service is one of them. It's really cute. The movies are typically picked out by a lot of the students. Like they'll have something that they want to watch and Newsom will try and get it onto the list. And sometimes he'll have an idea of like what films we should watch. There was one night that we were going to watch a foreign film and he couldn't figure out like how to get that film. And so as we were looking through like different Japanese films, we found a couple and then we voted on which one sounded best.
I would like to see like more members in general, because like the room itself holds like maybe 30 to 40 people, but it seems like the club is still relatively new because there's only maybe at least 10 to 15 people. So I guess just more growth within the club itself would help.
I think the club is beneficial to people because it shows people films from different perspectives. So it's not just all of the films that you would see in the movie theater right now. It's not, you know, your typical superhero movie. It's not always horror. It's not the pop movie that everyone's like talking about. It's older ones that we've sort of started to forget. But there's always lessons that we can learn still from those, whether it be like from a technical aspect or from an emotional aspect. Because films are like important from like the decade they were made because they say a lot about what's going on. And so being able to reminisce on that, being able to learn and then implement it in our daily life or in future films is always important.
Well, you don't have to be in DMP to be a part of this club. It's just for anyone who loves film and just is interested in discussing films and that kind of thing. So anyone can join. It's very inclusive. We meet every Tuesday at either 7 or 8 o'clock, depending on if we're having like a double feature. So if it's like a double feature, it's at 7, but normally it's at 8. And again, it is in Martin at 125, and they're at like a film screening room.
In the future, I'd like to see the club grow a little bit because right now we have like the same people going every week. It's decently small. It's a small room, but having more people, maybe more people from outside the DMP major coming and being able to put their voice in because like they're more for the entertainment value and we're seeing it like really critically, like the details and all that.
Join the Melier Society. It is a great club for all film enthusiasts and fans of film and just any kinds of film critic or film fan or anything like that. Join now.
The Orange Soda Podcast is a show I do with a few of my friends here on campus. It's a show about music, pop culture, and just kind of what's going on in our lives. It's a fun way for us to talk about the things we're interested in, and we're also all interested in the communications field, I would say. A lot of us are either digital media production majors or I'm a communications major, so it helps me get better at speaking, which is what I want to do. And for those guys, our producer Nick, he's into video production, so it helps him learn how to do that. Our camera guy Zach, he's also into digital cinema, so it helps him learn how to film stuff. Seth's digital cinema too, so it helps them, it helps me. So yeah, it's just a way for all of us to get better at what we want to do, and it's a fun way to get together. I did a podcast my first semester at UCM. It was called Stargazing Podcast, and on that show, we took kids on campus that made music, and we brought them on the show and gave them a chance to give kind of like their first interview. So it was practice for me and the other guys on that show, and practice for them too. And I just really liked doing that, and the people who were on that show, we weren't able to get together to do it again another semester, so I took a semester off, kind of thought about what I wanted to do and how much I liked doing that show, and I missed it. So I got in contact with some of my buddies, and we came up with a new idea for a show, and then we did it.
Well, I mean, I didn't start it. It was Steven's idea that started it, but we did an episode. I did an episode of him for Stargazing, and we wanted to start a podcast last semester. But it was just poor planning. It just kind of fell apart completely. But we had a pretty good idea for Orange Soda, and we had people behind it. So we figured, yeah, let's do it. It'll be fun, and gives us something to be creative and like have an outlet for and stuff, a platform. I was actually one of my guys in my class today. I was talking to him about that. He was like, "I listen to your podcast." Like, "Oh, that's pretty sick, dude." And he said like each one of us brings our own like personalities to it. Like Steven, he doesn't really lead we don't really lead the conversation. No one leads the conversation. Steven is there as kind of, not like an opposing force, he's kind of the agitator. And I'm the most spastic one. And I feel like I have the most to say. Aiden's there for like rebound. I don't know, I'm not sure. We all bring our own stuff, but I feel like I couldn't tell you what we all bring to it, but we all bring something. And at least for me and Aiden, we're more familiar with film than Steven and Paige are, so we got to talk about in that front. And Steven's more into like metal and harder classic rock and stuff, so we can talk about that. I'm more into hip hop than the other two. And then Aiden's more into like beat boop EDM music, so he's got that covered. Paige is on some weird left field stuff. So we all bring our own different viewpoints of stuff. And so there's a good conversation in there somewhere.
The name Orange Soda comes from a few places. All of us are really into Frank Ocean on the show. That's our favorite artist, and he has an album called Channel Orange. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. So the color orange was kind of in my head, and then my friend Isaiah showed me, who's on our show, showed me a song that was called Orange Soda. So I kind of had, I had that color in my brain, and the soda thing came from that song too. So I had all that in my brain,
kind of over the summer when I was trying to come up with the name and we just needed one. I said, well, let's just do this. And then our producer Nick made some graphics for it and it just kind of worked out. The way we get guests is usually it's just friends of ours that come on the show. If we need a guest, we're all pretty busy and there's 7 of us that are on the show every week, so it's hard to sometimes to get everyone together and get everything organized where we can all be there. So when we need a guest, we just reach out to our friends and say, hey, you want to come talk to us? Because that's basically what the show is, just friends talking about music and pop culture and things like that. So our friends that we think we could have a good conversation with, we bring on the show, and so far it's worked out pretty well.
The live to the audience episode was, it was kind of a treat. It was really good. We just didn't really plan it. One day Nick just said, hey, with studio, we can't record in there, let's record in the Union. And we were like, all right, dude, if you can figure like the logistics of that, we're down. But I mean, it was fun because like, we've been getting like less and less views as it goes on, because this is what happens, and then eventually it'll pick back up hopefully. But like, whenever you get to hang out with just like the crew and then like your friends that watch the show can come on and just like do the show with you, it's pretty rewarding and it makes it more heartfelt. It was fun. It was really, really fun. There's some pressure on it because there's people that don't know the show walking around the Union like, what is going on here? But it was fun.
If you want to, you can check out our YouTube channel at Pretty Sweet Media. We also have Instagram and Twitter, same handles. Yeah.
Reporting from Lowdown, this is Hunter Hallbaker.
In software engineering, I create code to make websites, create applications for like phones or for games. And also you can do artificial intelligence. So you can teach machines to learn on their own, and that's a big field that is coming up in my major. I was inspired to choose my major because it's very thought-provoking and requires problem-solving skills, which I think I have, and I really like to solve problems and find logical solutions. I really like creating code, and when I get a working product, I feel accomplished. Currently, I'm actually in a senior project class, and we are working on a website for the Federal Reserve for their cafeteria, and people can order ahead of time and order their deli sandwiches. There's a bunch of different steps. You need to first create a server that the website can run on. You need to create a client side where that's what the people view and see on the web page. And then you also need to create a database that holds all the data of like the sandwiches or ingredients and all that and their orders. I've created multiple games, such as a Gamoku game. It's where you need to get 5 tiles in a row before your opponent does. It's kind of like checkers, but not really, or Connect 4, but you can place a tile anywhere. So I've built one of those. I've done a Minesweeper game with C, and that's Minesweeper is you click a certain area, and if there's a bomb there, you lose. If not, it will tell you how many bombs are around that square. And then I've also worked on other websites, like a Pokemon database website. It shows you what your kind of Pokemon or stuff like that. I've also worked on a pizza website, so you can order a pizza from there, see everybody's orders. C is a programming language, and it's very low level compared to other programming languages. So a user might find it hard to understand at first compared to other programming languages, because other ones tend to use more English words to help describe an action or do certain things. C is used in many appliances, such as like clocks or microwaves, stuff that needs to be like fast and quick. Higher level programming language may consist of Java or Visual Basic or JavaScript and HTML. So those are more programming languages people want to start out with when they're learning to write code, because those ones are more user-friendly and easier to follow and use more English language. And those might be used for building websites with HTML and JavaScript, or building online banking services. And I know for sure Central Bank uses Visual Basic to do some of their online banking. I think I'm most proud of the Gamoku project, to be honest. I know it sounds kind of simple, but it was actually really hard and really thought-provoking. And I know a lot of my classmates actually didn't get certain parts of it working, and I was proud to say that I got all of them working. One of the hardest parts was trying to get when somebody won, you needed to get a circle, a yellow highlighted circle around each of their tiles. And that was pretty hard because you had to figure out which ones allowed them to get that win, and you had to figure that out. And so that took a lot of logic. I plan on using my degree to get a career in software engineering or a career in software development. If you are interested in pursuing a degree in computer science, I would persuade you to join by saying that it's really fun when you can create fun games or fun websites, and knowing that you built them yourself is a great accomplishment and feels really great. Also, if you really like problem solving and things that are logical, then it would be great for you. And I would encourage anybody out there to come to UCM, expect great things from the computer science department, and be ready to work hard and study hard.
My name is Bailey Nimmers, and I'm an illustration major. Illustration is like a visual storytelling. You create imagery based off of ideas and concepts that are interesting to you, that also fit stories, all kinds of things. Taking classes for illustration at UCM definitely is beneficiary towards becoming an illustrator, because a lot of the professors are already illustrators or already working for either big newspapers or magazines, and it definitely, like, working with those people helps push you towards that future and help you understand how that's going to work, and also enjoying your work while you get to that point. The art department at UCM is really welcoming, actually. Even like coming in as a freshman, I felt like I could connect with the older class or the upperclassmen. They really would help you no matter what. If you were in the lab and they were sitting on the other side and you were like, hey, I don't know how to do this, anybody would really step up and help you and challenge you a little bit more. So it's the community, professors and students are really great. Faculty is awesome. I was a graphic design and illustration major. I was a dual major. I recently just dropped the graphic design part. What I have heard from professors and from graduated art students, they mostly say that it doesn't matter what your degree is, it matters about your portfolio. If you're creating work that you're passionate about and things that you care about and things that you're proud of, that will make up a stronger portfolio than just classwork or things that you don't really love but you think fit the assignment. So I definitely think having the freedom to create things that you like and being able to fill a portfolio full of things that you want to make, to create, definitely pushes that. And I think that's part of the reason I chose to switch from graphic design and illustration to just illustration, was because I really just wanted to focus on things that I'm passionate about and make things that would further my portfolio and make me a stronger artist. My advice, work your butt off. That's all I have to say. Literally, work until you cannot work anymore. If you're passionate about it enough, go be in the lab until 4 a.m. and work on your art until 4 a.m. Work on it until the next day at noon if you have to. If you want to do illustration and you want to be good at illustration or any kind of art at all, work all the time. Don't stop working at all. Make what you like to make yourself happy, get your assignments done, but do not stop working. Work until you cannot work anymore. I would recommend the art program to anybody, even if you're not an art major, even if you're not an art major and you really just want to experience what people are making or anything, come walk through classrooms. People would be more than happy to explain what they're doing. Lots of people want to talk about what they're doing and they don't have other outside sources other than other art students to talk about it with. So I would definitely encourage you to come through, look at our galleries. We have 2 galleries in the Art Center. Just walking through the 3rd floor in Grinstead, there's all kinds of art hanging in the hallways. I would definitely just come check it out, even if you're not an art major. But if you want to be an art major, the program's great.
Reporting for Lowdown, I'm Blake Proctor.
I hope you enjoyed that glimpse into the lives of some of our students here on campus. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have tonight, but don't fear. The show in its entirety and individual segments can be found in our KMOS TV YouTube page. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Stephen Holstein. Good night.